Imagine a stadium packed with 200,000 people, the largest crowd in human history. Now imagine this entire stadium instantly falling into a silence so absolute that you could hear a fly buzz, a silence that would claim dozens of lives later that night. In July 1950, an entire nation was ready to celebrate. The newspapers had already printed victory headlines. The mayor of Rio declared the home team champions 3 hours before any whistle. Even the gold medals were pre-engraved with the winners' names. But they forgot one thing. More specifically, they forgot one man who walked into a restroom before the game and did something that completely shattered their golden fairy tale. This is the story of a football match that became a national tragedy. This is the Maracanazo, the day Brazil fell silent. The 1950 World Cup was coming to an end. Due to a unique format, Brazil only needed a draw in the final match to claim the trophy. The celebration had already started. Millions of champion shirts were sold on the streets of Rio, and the players were being treated like royalty before even stepping on the pitch. Nobody believed in Uruguay, even their own sports officials. Before the game, the federation managers walked into the dressing room and literally begged the players, "Just lose with dignity, please. Make it 4-0 or less. Don't humiliate us." Brazil was absolutely ruthless. They crushed Spain 6-1 and Sweden 7-1. They were untouchable. No one on earth doubted the final outcome. But Uruguay had a captain, Obdulio Varela, a man made of pure iron and defiance. On the morning of the match, he bought every copy of the Brazilian newspapers, laid them out on the bathroom floor, and urinated on them right in front of his team. Then he roared, "Those people out there in the stands, they are made of cardboard! On the pitch, it's just us and them." The Uruguayans stepped onto the pitch, under the roaring of 200,000 hostile fans. It wasn't just a stadium. It was a concrete coliseum, built for their public execution. And when the starting whistle blew, the onslaught began. Brazil pushed Uruguay deep into their own half, launching attack after attack. 17 shots in the first half alone, but Uruguay's defense held like a concrete wall. Against all odds, it was 0-0 at halftime. But early in the second half, the inevitable happened. A brilliant strike by Brazil's Friata, and the ball hits the net. 1-0. The Maracana erupted in absolute ecstasy. The stadium shook so violently, it felt like an earthquake. Brazil was already tasting the gold. And in that exact moment, Captain Obdulio Varela pulled off a stroke of genius. He picked up the ball, tucked it under his arm, and walked slowly to argue with the referee. Why? There was no offside, and he knew it. He wanted to buy time. He needed to break Brazil's red-hot momentum, and, most importantly, kill the wild roar of the crowd. After several minutes of slow arguing, the stadium indeed calmed down and turned to confused whistling. The plan worked. Uruguay composed themselves and struck back. In the 66th minute, Schiaffino met a cross and smashed the ball into the top corner of the wooden goal. Goal! 1-1. 200,000 fans instantly clutched their heads in shock. Brazil was still champions with a draw, but a chilling fear entered the arena. 79 minutes on the clock. Gigia sprints down the right flank, cuts inside, and shoots. The Brazilian goalie, Barbosa, leaps, stretching his stick arms to the limit, but misses by inches. The ball slips into the net. 2-1, Uruguay. The Maracana fell completely silent. Decades later, Gigia would famously say, "Only 3 people have ever silenced the Maracanan with a single blow. Frank Sinatra, the Pope, and me." That goal became a lifetime sentence for goalie Barbosa. He was blamed for the national tragedy until his very last breath. He once said, "In Brazil, the maximum sentence for a crime is 30 years. I have been paying for 50 years for a crime I didn't commit." Uruguay took the gold, leaving 200,000 people in tears. It was the Maracanazo, the ultimate triumph against all odds. Hit the subscribe button to relive more legendary football finals. See you on the pitch.